Chapter 149 of Sakamoto Days recently came out, and it was a bang. The chapter opens with the Samejima dude getting frustrated with the fact that Sakamoto was bodying the random fodder that was guarding the museum, so he decides to handle the situation himself. Shin is relieved that Sakamoto made it to Toramaru in time and thinks that all they have left to do is just leave the museum since they've stopped the terrorist bombing. Seba interrupts his thoughts by telling him about his plan to escape before commenting that Shin couldn't pick up on his thoughts before we transfer to Chairman Asaki. Asaki is just sauntering around and he interrupts the yapathon the museum tour is giving him and decides to go home when he hears that there's been an attempted assassination on his life. He's stopped, however, as Ario Muto, the guy that Slur's gang kidnapped, pulls up and basically just begs him to stay so Slur can pull up and kill him. He's not doing a very good job, and Nagumo realizes that Muto's acting kinda fishy, so he plays along and gets Asaki to see some special collection of the museum before confronting Muto about his ties to Slur. GOATGUMO basically just says, yeah, I'm not gonna kill you, and is only following along because he wants to use Asaki as bait to confront Slur's gang, and just as he says this, everyone hears a helicopter outside as it drops off 4 members of Slur's gang in one of the coldest entrances to ever been drawn. Gaku, Haruma, Kumanomi, and Carolina Reaper all drop in as Haruma blows up the helicopter they just dropped out of with a shot put, and Kumanomi punches a hole into the museum with her electromagnetic glove and new hand. All 4 are confronted with Samejima and his goons as Kumanomi goes ahead while Gaku just tears through the fodder and then proceeds to 1-inch punch Samejima's head clean off. The chapter ends as GOATGUMO himself confronts Gaku, saying that he's not a fan of juvenile delinquents. Which is ironic because he wasn't one himself, but anyway, this chapter was peak fiction. Beginning to end, I was just hyped. Seeing Nagumo finally get a fight with someone that isn't fodder is going to be crazy. I know a lot of people seem to think that Gaku is just going to get cooked, but I honestly don't think that'll be the case. He's already stated to hit harder than Osaragi, so at bare minimum, his strength is order level, and while his speed doesn't really have like a concrete statement to compare him to any order member, he obviously isn't slow and will probably be able to at least somewhat keep up with Nagumo. Well, I definitely don't think he's gonna win. He's definitely losing. I think he'll definitely survive, probably giving Nagumo a mid-diff fight at best. Nagumo as well is not dying anytime soon. He's got way too many unresolved plot points going on right now. If anything, I see him getting out of this fight relatively unscathed. Maybe it gets interrupted, and he'll have another fight later in the arc, possibly even being able to confront Uzuki face to face as a nice parallel to Sakamoto's initial fight and failure to kill Uzuki the first time. Now that 4 members of Slur's gang are at the museum, I think we'll have some pretty cool matchups coming as well. We know pretty much nothing about Carolina Reaper, so I don't really care who they end up fighting so long as it's cool. Kumanomi only really harbors malice towards one order member being Takamura since he bullied Gaku, and I'm not gonna lie, she's getting cooked if she fights Takamura, so I'm not sure who she might end up fighting. As for Haruma, I think it'd be cool if he fought Shishiba simply because they use unconventional weapons. Shishiba has his hammer and Haruma uses shot puts, so whatever ends up happening with Shishiba though, will probably have Amane tagging along since he trailed after him at the start of the arc and we haven't seen what he's been doing. So we also know that there is a 4th order member supposedly guarding Asaki, and since we haven't seen them, it's reasonable to assume that this could be Kamihate hiding out somewhere, or possibly even Takamura and he's just sleeping on a bench. But regardless, this chapter was straight fire from beginning to end and has set up so many exciting fights for the rest of this arc, and I'm all for it. This honestly could be the next Shibuya arc in Shonen. It could be Sakamoto Days version of Shibuya, so I'm super excited.